G'day guys and girls, welcome back to SideQuest Gaming, where we take a look at both old games and new to try and uncover some of those hidden gems you might want to give a crack and try out for yourself. Today we're doing something a bit new, and we're going to do a weekly wrap up of all the games that we've looked at throughout the week and give a short summary of my thoughts and feelings about them and my recommendations of whether you should be picking them up, trying them out, or waiting for a discount as we go. So let's dive in. So, Defense Grid Awakening is a fantastic tower defense game with an enormous amount of replayability and a large amount of variety and content throughout the missions. This game plays exceptionally well on both controller and keyboard and mouse. The story is solid and enjoyable, which is not normally a feature we are looking for in a tower defense game, so that's quite a big plus. The game respects its players' time and allows for significant control of the speed of the flow of gameplay, and it's definitely a hidden gem, and I'd solid 4 out of 5. Worth a pick up at full price if you're into tower defense games, otherwise wishlisted and keep an eye out for it, it's regularly on sale. Warhammer 40K Sanctus Reach. Sanctus Reach has a very compelling art style. It looks fantastic. A turn-based tactics game that invokes a feeling of scale. The large army size and the point-buy mechanic really helps to replicate the feeling of tabletop Warhammer. The music and voice acting leave a bit to be desired, as does the storyline. There could be a lot more done with the unique element of playing the Space Wolves faction. The combat mechanics are well thought out and they function well, so the gameplay itself is relatively smooth and enjoyable. Personally though, I would not add this to the list of hidden gems and would only suggest picking it up if heavily discounted, or if this particular style of gameplay particularly appeals to you. You kind of got to really want to be playing this turn-based army mechanics to enjoy the game. Warhammer 40K Dawn of War. The old classic and one of the more influential games in the real-time strategy genre. Compelling story across all of the expansions that definitely makes this game worth playing. The graphics are showing their age a bit, they still remain serviceable, although the particle effects definitely really reflect that this is an older game. There is still quite a bit of jank in getting this game to run properly, and I've included a fix in the link for some of those that need it, particularly around the font sizes, but there will be other little things that you'll run into as you play this game. There is also a remastered version of the game that is slated to come out later this year, and if you've not played Dawn of War, I highly recommend giving it a crack. However, I would not be paying full price for the Game of the Year edition. I would suggest either holding off for a drastic reduction in price, particularly given the likelihood that you'll have to do a bit of tinkering to get the game to play to your liking, or holding off for the remastered edition when it comes out later in the year. Definitely a gem worth playing if you get the chance, however, so I wouldn't write it off. The story, the gameplay are fantastic. You just want to either get it quite cheap or get the new version as it comes out. Warhammer 40K Gladius, a 4X tactical turn-based game that I picked up for 100% off during Skulls Fest. The gameplay is smooth, though it felt quite slow to me. The graphics are great and the sound design is punchy, as befits the 40K universe. If you play 4X games regularly, then the elements of explore, expand, exploit, and exterminate will be quite familiar to you. Essentially, it is a far more combat-focused version of a Civilization game. My impressions from my playthrough is that I wouldn't list this as a gem that is a must pick up. It is a neat little package with an enjoyable setting and an enjoyable structure, but even getting this game for free, I don't think I'll be going back to it that much. Only worth truly looking at if it's either steeply discounted or you absolutely love the 4X mechanics. Warhammer 40K Rites of War. Quite an older game. Rites of War came out in 1999 and I went into playing it expecting it to be quite rough and janky given its age. I picked up this game as a free giveaway as part of Skulls Fest, but it is regularly on sale at GOG.com down to $1 or $2. I was very pleasantly surprised with this game and would happily call it a hidden gem. The sound and graphics are what you would expect from a game of this vintage, but the voice acting is absolutely fantastic. The gameplay is brutal and strategic with no hand-holding. There are a lot of mechanics included in the game that I did not expect from an older title, particularly the ability to hold on to troops and level them up between missions, which I absolutely love in games like this, as it encourages kind of a sense of attachment and accomplishment to the troops you have between missions. An absolute must play if you're into 40k and turn-based tactics, and a steal for $1 or $2 when on sale. Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. Easily one of the best CRPGs out there and an absolute gem of the game worth picking up. Rogue Trader provides a beautiful entry point for a truly authentic choice-based RPG in the 40k universe, and properly evokes the grimdark nature of what you would expect of the setting. The voice acting and graphics are fantastic. The gameplay has gone through a great deal of refinement and tweaking since its release to make a truly challenging and satisfying turn-based combat experience. The storyline, however, is where the game truly shines, as it should for any CRPG. If you're a fan of any other Outcat games like Pathfinder Kingmaker, or if you enjoy the original Fallouts, Colony Ship, games like Divinity Original Sin, then this one is an absolute must for you. In my opinion, worth full price no matter what for the storyline alone. Definitely worth picking up if you haven't played it. Warhammer 40,000 Daemonhunters Chaos Gate. A fantastic little title that was perhaps a bit overlooked during its sale period. Daemonhunters Chaos Gate is a great little squad-based game with tactical turn-based combat that looks at leading a Grey Knights chapter on a series of missions to fight the Chaos Scourge. The graphics are fantastic, as is the sound design and the music and the animations. The story is compelling and fun, and there is some real enjoyment to be found in leveling up your Space Marines and outfitting them with killer gear to fit the needs of your particular playstyle. There are some interesting mechanics built into this game that encourage momentum in your playthroughs, encouraging you to always push forward and take a bit more risk, which feels fitting for a squad of Space Marines. Think XCOM 2, but without cautious advancement. Definitely a hidden gem and absolutely worth keeping an eye out for a discounted pickup. And if you enjoy this particular genre of turn-based tactic games, then it's probably worth picking up at full price. Anyway, that's it for me. That's a weekly wrap-up from SideQuest Gaming. As always, please like, subscribe. Makes a huge difference to me. And leave a comment below if you've played any of the games we've discussed and which your favorites were. I'd really love to hear from you. If any of the games I've discussed interest you and you want to find out a little bit more about them, please see the links below to see my videos going into my first impressions of the games. As always, I'll see you tomorrow in the next one. Have an amazing day. Peace.